Raise your hand if you like the idea of a price reduction. Well, 4 out of 3 sellers agree with you. 4 out of 3. Yeah, anyway, price reductions are not fun. And what's the average price reduction? Is it 2%? Is it 5%? 3, 4%? What if I could show you a strategy where you could reduce the amount that you're giving up, increase your bottom line, and have a much bigger impact on a prospective buyer, and open your listing up, open your home up to a whole new pool of buyers? I'm going to show you right now. For this scenario, I'm going to use a $500,000 purchase price with a buyer putting 10% down. So there's going to be mortgage insurance and so on and so forth. Now, let me say this first. There's been a lot of noise, a lot of chatter about a seller paid 2-1 buy down. While I think that is a great alternative to maybe at least explore, if I'm a buyer, I'm not going to get too excited about that, because the interest rate and monthly payment are actually going to stair step up the first 2 years. Let's look at 2 alternatives to a 3% price reduction. So take a look at these 4 scenarios. I've got 4 scenarios that I've stacked side by side for comparison. In the first one, you're going to see the listing price. So this is if you had your home for sale, you listed it for $500,000. This would show you with a 10% down payment what a potential buyer's numbers would look like. Interest rate, I'm using 5 7/8, 5.875 is kind of an average rate right now. That would yield a monthly payment with my estimates of property taxes, my estimates of homeowners insurance, and mortgage insurance, because again, the buyer's not putting a full 20% down, of about $3,800, almost $3,900 a month. Total cash to close with closing costs, down payment, title insurance, prepaids, reserves, attorneys, everything that I can think of, would be right around 62, almost 63,000 bucks. All right. So let's look at the second scenario. Let's assume you lowered your price 3%. What kind of excitement does this generate? What kind of buzz does this do? What does this do for the next potential buyer? So it's going to lower the loan amount, right? From $450 to $436.5. Interest rate's going to stay the same. But what does that do to the monthly payment? It doesn't do a whole lot. It saves them about $100 a month. Cash to close is still really about the same. Not a huge savings there either. So there's not a whole lot of excitement, I think, generated with a 3% price reduction. Let's look at an alternative. Let's look at 2 alternatives. First up, let's look at the seller paid 2-point buy down, not a 2-1. This is a true buying down the interest rate by paying 2 points or 2% of the loan amount. I'll come back to that in a second. So instead of giving up 3% in a price reduction immediately, let's look at a 2-point seller paid buy down. So we're going to bring that purchase price, list price, back up to $500,000. After a 10% down payment, loan amount's going to be $450. Interest rate, look at that. You go from 5.875 to 5.25. That's huge. And there's a little bit of psychology at play there, right? Because we all like to flex. Maybe we're at the backyard barbecue and we're sharing with our neighbors, what rate did you get? What rate did you get? And then you get to say, well, I'm at 5.25 in a darn near 6% market. So that's some flexing opportunity there. Lowers monthly payment from, let's look at scenario number 1 again at full list price, $38, almost $3,900. Lowers monthly payment to $36.90. Again, my estimates of taxes and insurance and mortgage insurance, everything kind of combined. It keeps the buyer's cash to close about the same. Not really any kind of a change there. There are 2 additional points being charged to the buyer, but the seller, you are paying those for the buyer. Now, here's something that you may not have thought about. It is 2 points instead of a 3% price reduction. So you're thinking I'm saving 1%. You're actually saving more than that, because those are 2 points, 2% based on the loan amount of $450, not the purchase price of $500,000. So you're actually saving a little more than 1% in this scenario. Now, let's look at another scenario. For some reason, mortgage insurance is a necessary evil, and People just don't like to pay it. I get it, not a big deal, but I totally understand. So let's take that same 2%, it's actually gonna be a little bit less than that. Let's apply 1 point or 1% towards buying down the rate, and let's apply that other contribution to buying the buyer's mortgage insurance outright up front. There's a strategy, there's a way to do that. So we're going to keep the purchase price the same, $500,000, 10% down is going to yield a loan amount of $450,000, and interest rate, you're going to shave off about 3/8 of a point in rate by buying it down with 1 point. Sounds kind of confusing, but we can come back to that. So you're lowering the rate, again, get the flex at that backyard barbecue, or you get to tell your coworker or your brother-in-law or your mom, whoever, that you got about a 0.5 point lower rate than what's currently going on in the market. So there's some, again, some more flexing opportunity there. But look at that monthly payment. It actually lowers the monthly payment down to about $3,700. Why? Because we're wiping out that mortgage insurance. So now they don't have that mortgage insurance for 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 years, however long it is. So lowers the monthly payment, don't have any MI. Guess what they get to say? I put 10% down, I don't have any mortgage insurance, and my rate is lower than yours. Cash to close is going to be about the same. Going to keep that at about 62 and some change. So again, two great strategies that I think will open your listing, open your home up to a whole new pool of buyers, especially as we keep hearing on the news that rates are climbing and the housing market's cooling and so on and so forth. So if they can get a lower rate and not have to pay for it, if they can get a lower rate and wipe out mortgage insurance without putting a full 20% down, hey, who wouldn't sign up for that? If you have any questions about this, or if you would like me to run these numbers based on a different purchase price, higher, lower, whatever, I'm more than happy to do that. All my contact information is right here. Please feel free to reach out to me and I'll be happy to help.